I want to dive in now with the former Associate White House Counsel to President George W. Bush, Jamil Jaffer, along with National Security Attorney Brad Moss. So, listen, we're seeing already, we've already had one plea, two pleas, now three pleas happening. There are still, 15 more at least people who are on the docket. When you saw this, did you think that it would be a felony and he would actually name Trump, Giuliani, and Eastman in the discussion?
I wasn't surprised because think of what we saw just yesterday with Powell. Powell got it pled down to misdemeanors. The early fish gets the worm. As we keep going further down the line, as we get closer and closer to the bigger trial, which would be the one we'll have Donald Trump and any of the remaining defendants, any plea deals will be more harsh, will be more punishment compared to what these initial people got. So with Ken Chesebro, he pleaded to one felony. It's going to certainly be a problem for him keeping his bar license. He pleaded to a particular criminal act that implicates Donald Trump, the fake elector scheme, the documents themselves. The dominoes are starting to fall. How many? We have to see.
You know, people may not have missed, or may have missed it. When you said the law license, remember his attorney said, I just want to be clear, this was not a crime of moral turpitude. And every lawyer was like, oh, because you want to keep your bar license. Oh, the moral turpitude, that's part of what we have to actually have. You can't have a crime of moral turpitude to actually be a barred attorney. So that was sort of that inside lawyer baseball there. But Jamil, when you think about this, are there going to be other pleas that you think soon from, say, an Eastman or a Giuliani or others who were hoping to preview all of this trial testimony and figure out whether they had enough against them?
Well, look, I think this is how it works, right? I mean, they can certainly see more people going down. Now, Eastman, Giuliani's harder, I think, to pin down. He's got a lot more at stake.
Is he, you say? Interesting how you mentioned that. He's harder to pin down.
You know, America's mayor. He's changed a lot over the years, right? And he's gone down a road that's challenging. So it's going to be hard, I think, to see him plead. I think Eastman's much more likely, although it will be a difficult one as well. But the more you see this happen, right? This is classic, RICO move, right? You start working down the lower level folks, give them better plea deals, as Brad was saying, exactly right. It gets harder and harder as you get further along, right? And eventually you want to get to the big fish, in this case, Donald Trump. They're working their way up. They're going to keep doing it.
What struck me as well was not only that he has now testified in other cases, but not just Fulton County. You're also talking about potentially Jack Smith's case, because I think he was the co-conspirator 5, unnamed, of course, in the Jack Smith indictment out of Washington, D.C. So that could actually be a deal or interesting for that case, right?
Yeah, as is Sidney Powell, one of those other unindicted co-conspirators. These same various people who are coming up in the Georgia case will make an appearance in the federal case to some degree. If they've made these plea deals, they're no doubt going to be trying to talk to Jack Smith's team saying, let's figure something out, we'll cooperate, we just want to get this put there behind these clients, what can we do here? As these various cases start to overlap with each other and start to intersect and more people start cutting deals, it's going to get more and more pressure on the former president. It's going to make it more and more difficult for him to hold the line that he's kept this far.
You say cooperator. Some are already using the word snitch. We were talking about somebody who was basically like a rat in a suit, right? They think about that sort of thing. But the attorney for Chesebro is already saying, no, you've got this all wrong. He's not snitching. He's just trying to be accountable for what he has done. Listen.
He didn't snitch against anyone. He went in there. He accepted responsibility for what I would view as one of the minor kind of tag-on charges in the indictment. And that was that. I mean, I could absolutely tell you that, again, if he's called, he'll go testify and answer their questions. But I would disagree. I don't think Mr. Chesebro snitched against anyone. I think he simply decided it was time for him to put this behind him and go on with his life.
Why do you think he's saying it in that way, Jamil?
Well, I mean, Lori, you know the old phrase, right? Snitches get stitches, right? And so he doesn't want Donald Trump coming out swinging against his client, saying, this guy's coming after me. He's going to do it anyways. It's happening. His lawyer's trying to head that off. But the reality is that Ken Chesebro is going to have to testify against Donald Trump, certainly in Georgia, maybe in the federal case. This is not going to go well for Donald Trump. Trump world has got to be freaking out right now, seeing Powell and Chesebro now go down. Powell in particular knows a lot about what happened on the inside. And while she didn't plead to the kind of charge that Chesebro did, both the felony and something involving that direct Georgia plot, right? She pled to the stuff happening down in that one county. Nonetheless, the fact that she knows all this stuff, and if she doesn't testify to the satisfaction of Fonnie Wills, right? They can bring these charges back, right? They can get rid of the plea deal. And so there's a lot of room here. A lot of us were critical. I was critical of the Fighting Wolves indictments, right? They were too broad, too aggressive, right? All the RICO charges. And yet this is really a vindication of her strategy. It's working. It's going to harm Trump, not just in Georgia, but in the federal court as well.
I mean, look, as a prosecutor, the more valuable a witness you would be for me, the more gracious my plea offer might be if I can't get it from anyone else. But you're right about Trump world. They're already on notice, essentially, about what he can and cannot say. He's already violated a gag order. A judge in New York is fining him, $5,000 if he keeps doing it. So we'll see if that is a warning for other areas as well. Do you see him violating the? You know what? Rhetorical. It's okay. It was rhetorical.
Gee, I wonder if
I don't
he
know.
might violate
or
again.
keep doing it. The judge thinks he will. We'll see what happens in the other trials, gentlemen. Nice to see you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Laura.